Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act.
In this week's episode of the Kindness Project, we talk about radio, Santa, with part one of our interview with Tanveer and her sisters from the Five Diamonds Mentorship.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're listening to this, walking the dog, at work.
In the middle of a nap.
In the middle of a nap, on your bike. People aren't listening in the middle of a... But I do.
You do.
I do. I put podcasts on as I'm snoozing and then wake up and they're having a completely different conversation. Not something you need to worry about in the Kindness Project because it's about as random as you can get to start. We are a podcast primarily about kindness and sharing the stories of people doing amazing things in the world. But we do have some... How would you describe it, Charlotte?
Delightful waffle.
Delightful waffle. So expect some delightful waffle. And what delightful waffle subject would you like to talk about initially today?
Anything interesting going on in your life, Russ?
Let's talk about the radio.
What are we talking about on the radio?
Well, recently I was talking to the guy at the BBC, and Phil's been on this morning from the round table. And I was looking at some statistics online, and I was surprised how many people still listen to the radio.
I still listen to the radio.
I don't.
Yeah.
I listen to, I mean, primarily the BBC.
I thought 90% of people now, I thought, would stream music, but they still listen to the radio.
You know what's interesting? Let me tell you, like I listen to a lot of Five Live, and you know what's been interesting for me? I woke up like about 3 or 4 in the morning the other morning, and they had a phone in, and a lot of the people phoning in on this particular phone in, it struck me that they were older, so in their 70s, 80s, 70s and 80s, and were commenting really well on the subject of the day, but primarily was phoning for company. Because I think if that radio's been live and you've got like streamed live into your home and you've got the opportunity to call up, interact, and go.
Good point.
It seems like quite a valuable thing to still have, whereas podcasts, yes, you can like tweet in or email in and do stuff like that.
You can't connect like you go phoning into the radio or that.
Yeah, and there's still a generation. I mean, I like the radio, and I'm of an age of an ex-boy band member, as we talked about last week. But I will bring it up every episode. I've got whilst I remember. But the reality is that I think the radio plays an important role.
It's reminded me of Tito from the Jackson 5, you know.
I thought it was more Michael.
I wouldn't admit to that.
No, I wouldn't admit to that.
You know what I just realised?
Go on.
Last episode, it's supposed to be my turn to run a game show, and I completely forgot.
She's got out of the game show.
I got your joke of the week last week. I got your game show.
No.
Right. So when next week's episode, we are doing a game show. We are doing a game show. So what would you like to share about what's going on with you? Do you want to share the story of what's been on the radio, Russ?
Yeah, so, well, you're better placed to share the story than I am, but...
Okay, so I'm involved with a local organisation called Round Table. Round Table is local. It's got a national set up, but every area's got a local organisation that just does stuff for the community. So we raise money for charity, we give to local charities, and we try and help out as and when we can. Now, recently, as you know, if you're listening in the UK, and it's probably similar in other parts of the world as well, there is a significant cost of living crisis. So costs have gone up, energy bills have gone up, cost of everything's gone up. And while some of us are lucky enough not to feel it as much, it is impacting a lot of people. And normally, as a round table, we go out at Christmas time. We've got a sleigh where we put a Santa on the sleigh, go out, entertain the kids, raise loads of money for local charities. We thought that, and this is primarily a guy called Phil Shatlady, who's the main organizer of this particular event.
He's the head honcho.
He's a boss man. He's bossing it. He's bossing it. Although if Claudia Winkleman ever wants a radio comment, I'm binning Phil when I'm getting involved. All right, because I like Claudia. I like the fringe, Russ. It's the fringe.
It's the fringe, is it?
How do you feel about Claudia?
Claudia's
And she's funny.
I prefer Amanda Holden.
No.
I'm not. Okay, interesting. We'll explore that in a future podcast episode. But so Phil, who's doing the majority of the organising, really getting involved, and what we're doing is raising both money, although primarily food and hygiene products, to give to people who need it the most. Now, I don't know if you remember, Russ, but on the Kindness Project, probably about a year ago now, we had a lady called Serena van der Meulen. Now, Serena's amazing because she runs a business full time. She's brilliant at what she does, but she also volunteers a lot of hours a week to an organisation up in, I want to say up north, but I'm not sure where it is.
It was up north, and it was something to do with supplying sanitary products to.
Yeah, so the charity is called the Hygiene Bank.
Yeah,
and she made me aware of the fact that sanitary products are expensive, and not everybody's got the money, and some people have got. We always make the comparisons between eating or heating, but actually it's more complicated than that, because sanitary products, if you haven't got the money, are sometimes what goes first. So all of that stuff needs to be supported, and what we're going to do is do our own tiny little bit by taking Santa out for his summer holidays in the streets of Hornchurch. I don't know if that's where he would have chosen to go, but that's where he's going, to raise money for an amazing cause.
Now, what always amazed me about them sort of interviews, we recently had Charlotte Hill on as well. The logistics that must go into them supplying them to all the sort of branches out from their main base.
Yeah, well, that's what those charities do, right? They get the staff like the Felix Project.
Well, they're like main hubs that branch out into several other areas, isn't they?
Yeah, but that's part of the challenge, isn't it? These places that supermarkets and restaurants couldn't do it as well as somebody whose only job.
Without doubt.
Yeah, so the fact that the Felix Project exists is absolutely incredible. So we're going out and doing our little bit, donating to local food banks, both hygiene stuff and food, and potentially raising a bit of money as well. So Russ, who is our resident, I mean, I'd call him not only our producer, not only our friend, not only your uncle and my brother, not only an amazing lover.
I'm telling
you. Of humanity. Stop being sordid.
I've been thinking a lot lately about getting emancipated from you,
How would that work?
Well, you go to court and divorce your brother, don't you?
How can you divorce your brother?
You're no longer my brother. I want to keep in touch with my nieces, but and Cassie. But no,
you're only about.
I've had enough of you.
Who supported you?
I've had enough of you.
Can you divorce your brother? Can you Google that at some point, Russ?
I'll check today when I get
Yeah.
time and let you know.
Yeah, because I might divorce you. I'm going to divorce you first. Don't worry. I don't want to go tit for tat, but you're divorced, mate. All right, you can't. No, I love you too much. I love you too much. And it's because you're a great lover of humanity. You just love life. I could, you know what? If I was my brother, I'd be tempted to divorce myself. Anyway, he does get teased quite a lot on the podcast. I mean, he gets teased quite a lot when we're together, but yeah, it's just.
It's fine, Russ. Next time we're all together, we'll target him.
I know.
You guys normally do.
We
You
don't
normally
gang up on you. It is true.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. It's true. All meant in the best possible fun. Right. Okay. I've lost my train of thought. Do you want to take? Oh no. So round table. We're doing amazing work with round table, and the greatest lover of people in the world, Russell James, but also he's quite good at PR and making a bit of noise and getting people to stand up and take notice, took over. And Russ, the story is now yours.
Yeah, so I sent BBC Essex an email, and to my surprise, they come back to us and said, "Yeah, we want you to come on." So
Can we play? I mean, you can edit this after, so it looks all seamless. Can we play the clip of Phil?
We can play the clip. I've got the clip, so
let's do that now.
As always, around this time on Saturday Breakfast, we like to find out people that are really making a difference in the county. And believe it or not, Father Christmas, yes, you heard me right, is coming to Essex later this month. Santa will be in Hornchurch on Sunday the 20th of August, spreading joy and warmth as he cruises the street of the town, collecting money for local causes and also collecting food for the Romford Food Bank. Well, Phil Shacklady is the events organiser for Hornchurch Round Table and has hired old St Nick for the day. And he's with me now. Phil, a very good morning to you, mate. How are you?
I'm very well. Good morning to you, Tony.
Thanks so much for being with us this morning and spreading a little bit of joy. The first question I've got to ask you is, how did you manage to get Father Christmas to work in the summer?
Yeah, it was difficult, I must say. He's on his holidays anyway, so we thought we'd try him.
I have this idea that you managed to get his private number and he was there in his Bermuda shorts, you know, enjoying a bit of the summer, and then he sort of said, "Well, I'll come down and do an extra gig for you."
Sounds good. Yeah, no, it's a great event.
Before we get into the event itself, tell us a little bit more about the Hornchurch Round Table.
Well, Hornchurch Round Table has been going for some time. I've been involved for about the last 3 years. They're a sort of a local community. The history of Hornchurch Round Table dates back to 1927. It's generally a sort of chaps that meet up a couple of Wednesdays a month, and it's more of a sort of a social thing, but they look to support the community in various ways. So we support a number of local charities. For example, in Hornchurch, we support local charities like First Step and St Francis Hospice, and then people will reach out to us for other support that might be needed. So it's really about community and social sort of chat with our friends that we meet through the Hornchurch Round Table. And then one of the events is, one of the Wednesdays is sort of a meeting to talk about supporting community, and the second one is generally a social, and we might go bowling, or we might just go to the pub or have a meal or do bowls or whatever it might be. So it's a really good thing to do, and it's sort of helping people as well.
In the first hour of the show this morning, I was speaking to a local member of the Rotary saying that for groups like the Rotary and indeed the Round Table to keep going, you've got to get new members. Are you finding that you're getting new, younger members joining?
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult, clearly, but this year particularly, we've had a couple of new members join, so that's been really helpful. We tend to network amongst ourselves in our own sort of connections and bring people on board, and we're always keen to have people come to us, so we do advertise through sort of Facebook page or reach out through our Facebook page. So he's getting better, but probably a few years ago, and with COVID, etc., it's sort of quietened off a little bit. So, but Hornchurch Roundtable is pretty healthy at the moment.
That's good to hear. And also good to hear that Father Christmas is going to be here very soon.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the money that you're going to be raising and who he's going to be for specifically on the day.
Yeah, we're sort of focusing pretty much, Tony, this year on food. So primarily it's food donations. We've sort of been in touch. We're supporting, I think it's actually Romford or Collier Row and Romford Food Bank, and they said that they need certain items of food. So it's the essential things like, rice and sauces and pasta and all of these sort of essential things. But in addition, we're sort of looking at toiletries and things like that. So anything that people might have spare that they can just offer would be greatly appreciated. It kind of gets straight into the community because we'll deliver it sort of immediately to the food bank centre, and it gets distributed to those in need. So it's a great effort.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? It's incredible to think that you deliver it too, because we are hearing on a daily basis now that food banks are becoming quite stretched.
Yes, they are. Yeah, I mean, we will get it. We actually did this for the first time last year, because the history of the Summer Santa is it's clearly goes out at Christmas time, and we go out about 6 to 8 nights at Christmas time. And it's always wonderful to see the kids' faces, and you're sort of doing a good thing for the community. And then we support the local charities. So Christmas tends to be more focused on sort of financial donations, but we just kind of felt this year it's a big need. It's tough times out there for people currently, isn't it? Inflation, they'll tell us inflation's coming down regularly on the news, but it doesn't seem to be affecting food prices too much yet, does it? So that's where the need is. So we decided it was make the focus food. They can still, if someone hasn't got any food or available for us and they want to make a cash donation, that's fine too. But we're focusing on food. It will go straight to Romford Food Bank. They'll get it straight out to the people that need it.
And give us the detail one more time, would you, Phil, if people want to go and see St Nick and get get their Christmas list in early as well,
fabulous.
Possibly, if they've been good so far this year.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sounds good. Okay, so Summer Santa, it goes out on Sunday afternoon. That's the Sunday, the 20th of August, around 3 p.m. We start in the Hornchurch Road, and then we move to the road south of Hornchurch Road, and then eventually sort of come back and finish at the Tesco's at Hornchurch Road. So it's that whole sort of southern area, and we'll be out, and please come out. If you've got one fun thing for the kids to do in the middle of summer, let's hope it's not raining, the sun comes back by then.
Yeah.
It'll be a great event, and please come out.
Phil, all the very best, mate, to you and everybody else at the round table as well, and give our regards to St Nick while you're at it as well. Phil Shacklady there, events organiser at Hornchurch Round Table. Why not go and have an early hello to Father Christmas? Great idea, happening in a couple of weeks' time.
So that was the clip of Phil talking about the amazing work we're going to be doing. I've just realised I've created Russell an additional job by doing that. But
it's not the job that's the problem. I'm not sure where we stand on the sharing it on the podcast.
I'm sure we'll be fine on it. Let's do it, and then if there's any problems with it, you can let me know. Yeah, I officially abdicate you of all responsibility for sharing a news article about something positive. There's your big disclaimer, right? All right, but let's share that.
You have a recording of that now, Russ. So
You've got a recording of it. It's on me. It's 100% on me. Okay, so on that note, I feel like we've been sharing quite a lot of kindness already. And people doing good in the world already. But we have also got another edition of... Anyway, we are a podcast about kindness. So let's talk a little bit of kindness in today's episode of... You can tell we were out last night, right? Can't you? Do you want to do that kindness news again?
Yeah, it's a bit squeaky.
Yeah. Kindness news.
Oh!
I can't remember what the original sounds like.
That ain't a bad one.
Yeah.
That one.
Remix. Kindness news remix. Go on, give it another go.
Kindness news.
Oh!
Yeah. Britain's Got Talent, here we come.
just imagine if for 3.5 minutes Charlotte just said, "Kindness news, kindness news." Right, what's our first news article this week?
Our first news article of the week from Midland Today.
Oh, Midland edition. Kindness news, Midland edition.
Long-time Rotarian surprised with her very own random act of kindness. Britt McKerrow started Random Acts of Kindness Day in Midland a decade ago. A firm believer that kindness is contagious, Britt McKerrow has been an integral part of the Midland Rotary Club for the last 15 years. I admire the work they did in our community, she said. The club helps so many organisations and I wanted to be part of it too. Through the Rotary Club, Britt started Random Act of Kindness Day in Midland 10 years ago, encouraging generosity, kindness and compassion in our community. Each year on May 21st, community members are encouraged to do something nice for someone in an effort to pay it forward. As part of the celebration, the Rotary Club of Midland hosts a free barbecue on the dock. We just think it's important to give back to our community because we think it's the best community in Ontario. We just work to make it even better, said Britt. Since its inception, Britt has coordinated the entertainment, vendors, advertising, food and volunteers for the event. She designed the t-shirts for all the Rotarians to wear and she has kindness cards printed to pay it forward, to be distributed to guests to encourage them to pay it forward, said her nominated Joyce Campbell. It is such a feel-good day for everyone involved. She also works with local businesses, schools and community partners to make the event a success and bring together different corners of the community to make the event as inclusive as possible. It was her vision, said Campbell. She had a dream years ago and organised this all by herself. To show our gratitude for everything Britt has done to make Midland a happier, kinder place to live, we thought we would surprise her with a random act of kindness of our own. Since Britt is a huge fan of art, we got her a gift certificate to Quest Art School and Gallery so she could pick out something for herself. I was caught completely off guard. I would really like to thank Joyce Campbell for nominating me because she has been such a big part of our Rotary Club and this is the kind of stuff she does. Thank you to our generous co-sponsor Rooted Plant-Based Eating for helping us make this random act of kindness possible. And then they have a link to their nomination form.
I love that, and the reason I love that was it Joyce who was the lady who got nominated for the award.
No, Joyce was the person who nominated Britt for the award.
Britt. So there's a few reasons I like that. Number one is because Canada is well known as an amazingly kind and compassionate place. On the whole, you know, their like Canadian culture, even though it's a vast country, seems to be friendly. And really inclusive, and I love it. Absolutely love it. The other thing, interestingly, Charlotte and I was lucky enough to get invited to a Rotary Club event in London where I spoke about the Kindness Project, and I know how much Rotary and Roundtable and loads of other organisations do across the communities around the world globally to support amazing causes. You know, I mean, Rotary is huge, but and so is Roundtable's pretty decent sized as well. But all it is people who want to do a bit of good in their communities getting together and doing it. That is all it is. Now that's scaled up to a point where Rotary and Roundtable have a massive positive impact on our world. So thank you to Britt, thank you to Canada as a country, and thank you to the amazing organisations, Roundtable, Rotary Club, all of those other community organisations who are effectively designed to make the world a better place. Brilliant stuff. What's our next? Yeah, we'll do. Sinead O'Connor, who died recently, quiet acts of kindness for terminally ill 20-year-old revealed. Sinead O'Connor called Louise Walcott out of the blue and treated the terminally ill 20-year-old to the best week of her short life in 1991. Sinead O'Connor is being hailed as lovely. I read about this on Twitter from the lady's mum. Sinead O'Connor is being hailed as lovely and compassionate by the father of Louise Walcott, a terminally ill 20-year-old who was treated to a week in London by the Irish singer-songwriter in 1991. On July 29, 3 days after O'Connor's death was confirmed by her family, James Hawkins shared on Twitter a picture of Philip Walcott's emotional letter to the editor of the Telegraph. Sorry, it was her dad that I read about. In his letter entitled "Kindness of a Star," Walcott wrote, "I was greatly saddened by the death of Sinead O'Connor. She was a very different person behind her fame. In 1991, my 20-year-old daughter Louise was suffering from terminal cancer when she received a phone call from Sinead out of the blue. Sinead had heard of Louise's illness from some source, probably the press, as we were raising funds for our local hospice. My daughter was a great admirer of her and loved her music. During this long call, Sinead invited my daughter to travel to London to spend some time with her. Needless to say, Louise was thrilled. A few days later, she met Louise at Euston Station, and to cut a long story short, Louise had the best week of her short life. They dined, they drank, they danced, but most of all, they laughed irreverently. All the things in life that make it good. Eating, couple of drinks, lot of dancing, and a hell of a lot of laughing. Sinead was at the height of her fame at the time and found it highly amusing that when they were out, people were asking for Louise's autograph. Louise returned home exhausted and happier than I've ever seen since her devastating cancer diagnosis. It didn't stop there. This lovely, compassionate woman always stayed in touch. She sent Louise wine and flowers and letters right up to her death in 1992. On Louise's last visit to London, Sinead gave my daughter a platinum disc for her song "Nothing Compares to You" and dedicated her Christmas record "Silent Night" to her. During this time, Sinead never sought any publicity for those acts of love and compassion. Today, my thoughts are with two remarkable women who I have no doubt will be somewhere still singing, dancing, and laughing. Love that. And it's, I suppose, the big thing about that, and Sinead O'Connor had a troubled life, had some issues and challenges, but it's the stuff we do when the cameras aren't rolling and nobody's watching that define us. Don't you reckon, Maz?
Apparently, it's quite common as well, because when George Michael died, a lot of stories like that come out about him as well, that he donated to people on Just Giving and stuff like that nobody knows they're doing.
Yeah, and that's the sign, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
It's like, there's no publicity benefit. It's just doing it for the benefit of making sure the world is a slightly better place. And if you can make, I think we were having this conversation yesterday, Charlotte, weren't we? If you can make one person's life better, I mean, if you can make millions of people's lives better, great. But if you can just spend the time and effort and energy, particularly if they're going through a tough time, making one person's life better, you've done some good in the world. I love it. Absolutely love it. Time for the interview this week. It's Tanveer and all of her sisters. So this was a bit of a challenging interview, Russ, wasn't it? In a couple of ways. I've never had to interview
5 people at once.
5 people at once before, but all of the sisters are doing amazing work, mentoring and supporting young people into their careers of choice. Love the philosophy behind what they're doing. Love that it's a family game, and all of the sisters are adding value, and Dad's supporting it, and like mentoring them and guiding them. Yeah, the story's amazing. Let's listen to it. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? I'm really well because the sun's shining outside, and it looks like it's going to be a really sunny weekend. How's everybody doing today?
I'm in sunny Winchester, where the sun is shining and the view is wonderful, and looking forward to the weekend.
So, Meta, what are you up to? What are you doing over the weekend?
So I have twins. It's their birthday on Sunday.
Fair.
And so we planned the cinema, bowling, dinner on the Sunday. And then we need to get back home early because they have a residential 3-day trip with school on the Monday. So we've got to prepare for all of that as well, do some last minute shopping.
Yeah, and what are you going to go and cinema?
I think it's a Spider-Man.
So you know what?
I think, yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. I'm not sure what it is. I asked her, what do you want to watch? And she said, I think it's Spider-Man that I booked.
Yeah, that's good. As a 45-year-old man, I shouldn't like Spider-Man still, really, but I do. So I'll use the excuse of taking the kids, but actually
it's really for yourself.
Right. So let's start in earnest. Let's start with you telling Charlotte and I. Sorry, this is Charlotte, by the way.
Hi, Charlotte.
Hi, Charlotte.
Tell us a little bit about each of you. Who'd like to go first?
So I think I'll just go first because I'm the eldest. So I'm
that Samita, that gives you the right, doesn't it? That if you're the eldest, you're
certainly does. There's got to be some benefits to being the eldest. But anyway, so I'm Samita. We were all born and brought up in the Northeast. And then brought up in Newcastle for the majority of our childhood. I studied at Northumbria University. I did a law degree.
Okay.
I did my training in Newcastle as well. And then I got pupillage in London, which is a training for barristers. Yeah. So I moved to London in 2001. And I've been here ever since, about over 20 years. And I practice in areas of crime and family.
Fab. Tell me about accents, because before you came on, Sarita was saying she hasn't lost. She's lost it a bit.
Lost it, yeah.
Lost her accent.
I think because when we're all together, my Geordie comes out.
So can we expect? Is that via Zoom or is that only in person? Can we expect it?
We might have some Geordie in the last 2 minutes.
Fab. Okay. Well, I'll ask for some Geordie in the last 2 minutes. If you don't mind. That'd be great. Who'd like to go next?
I'll go next. I think we'll do it in order. We'll do it in order.
Go.
Second born. So I'm Sarita, and I live in Manchester, and I'm a dentist. And I qualified 20 years ago this year.
Right.
So it's a bit of a milestone. And
how are you feeling about that?
Don't know. It was a bit of an achievement, you know. It's quite a stressful, challenging job. Yeah. But yeah, I think with all of us, though, with our respective industries, they're quite sort of intense jobs. I don't think that should define who we are. You know,
agreed.
Yeah, so I think there's so much more out there in life. So I think, you know, what you do for a living shouldn't sort of pigeonhole you.
Well, I was having this. I mean, I was having this conversation, funny enough, this week. I think there is sometimes it's like the first question you ever get asked is, what do you do, isn't it? And actually, I think when I met Tanveer, we had this conversation as well. It's like dad defines me and friend defines me and, you know, all of those other. So what, apart from the job, defines you, Sarita?
Oh, so I'm a mother of 2 boys. So that's quite another challenging job. Yeah. So you know, so it's I mean, it's kind of like work-life balance, really. And but yeah, I mean, there's lots of sort of things that I enjoy out there, and I think this is what's kind of then led us all to do, you know, set up this Five Diamonds Mentorship and what we do with that.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about that. Who'd like to go next?
Kavita, unmute.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Kavita. Again, I live in Manchester, quite close to my sister, Sarita, which is nice. I'm a dentist. I qualified in 2006. That's 17 years ago. I have 5 dental practices in Greater Manchester. I have 3 children. Keep me very busy. yeah, that pretty much sums me up.
Fab, great stuff. Can I ask you to mute again? Would that be all right? Just because of the feedback thing. Fab, thank you. Who'd like to go next?
So, hi, Chris. I'm Najiba.
Hi, Najiba.
So I live in Newcastle, so I'm the one that stayed regional.
Now, does that mean that you've got the strongest accent? I mean, it's like
well, you'll find out. It depends again, which environment I'm in, but I'm sure it'll come out as I speak. So yes, I'm a consultant clinical oncologist. I specialise in managing patients with breast and skin cancer at the Freeman Hospital. So I studied in London, Imperial College, and I lived with Samita for those 6 years, which we had at a time. But I decided that it was
I'm back.
Yeah, come and work in Newcastle. So I've been, loving my job. I have a 4-year-old daughter who keeps me busy, and I'm a massive Newcastle United fan. So I'm still on a high since we've been into the Champions League. So yeah, that's me.
Well, I'm a West Ham fan because of where I am. So I'm having a good week this week. It's actually been a good week for West Ham. But my Liverpool supporting friend keeps on reminding me that it's not actually a proper European. I know. I thought that was a bit cruel.
It is.
Great. Who'd like to go next?
Yeah. Tanveer. So Tanveer, the youngest of the 5 bunch. So I'm a chartered accountant. I work as an associate partner at Haynes Watt in Essex. So I've been in the accountancy industry for 14 years. Started up in Newcastle for the first 6 years. Did my training there. Once qualified, I moved down to London. I was there for another 6 years until my daughter Camilla arrived, and then moved out to Billericay in Essex, and here I am.
Fab, good place to be. Now, Charlotte, you wanted to ask me a question.
So tell us about the Five Diamond Mentorship.
So the Five Diamonds Mentorship, or sort of 5DM, as we shorten it, we set it up about 2 years ago. It came about, I think, during one of our general chats, and I think at the time, I think it was one of the COVID lockdowns as well. So we were doing a lot of this Zoom. That's the Zoom meetings, and we had a chat, and we realised that a lot of students were reaching out to us on an individual basis for help to get into our sort of respective industries. And when we started talking to each other, we realised actually it was happening quite a lot, and it wasn't just happening to us, it was happening to all of us. And that's when we realised that actually, even though this sort of this generation of kids have, the digital generation, they have so much information overload, they were actually struggling to get onto the career path that they wanted to get into.
I suppose part of that is, like, there's a glass of information, isn't there? There's sometimes too much. What do you actually trust to make sure you're on the right path?
This is it. I mean, it was quite, once we sort of set up the organisation, so it is a not-for-profit organisation, and our sort of main aim is to guide, support, but also mentor students from all different backgrounds to get into the industries that we're in. And like you said, it's kind of, it did shock us that a lot of these kids had no one to go to for help, and for that sound advice. And it can be quite a daunting process to, first of all, decide on your career pathway, but then to have that confidence to apply to quite a highly competitive course.
Sure.
So we're quite a new sort of organisation, but I mean, from what we've done and our feedback from the workshop, it's just been phenomenal.
So when young people started reaching out and asking for help, where did they find you? Where did they decide? Was it just email, or was it how did they do that? And I suppose the other question is, what age are they reaching out and thinking about what their careers are looking at next?
So when we sort of kind of did our research, we sort of noticed it was from about the age of 14.
Yeah.
So from the age of 14, sort of upwards, and what we did is remember, we already had students reaching out to us through word of mouth and through our networks. So we already had some sort of connections, to students and to colleges as well, and schools. But once we sort of took that decision to make it quite a formal thing, we sort of set up our website and the powers of social media, sort of Instagram, Facebook more so for the parents, but mainly Instagram for the kids, and the website. But again, a lot of it has been through word of mouth.
It is. It will be, won't it? Yeah, absolutely. So you're all in the room. You're saying that, okay, people are reaching out to all of us. What was the next step? What was it? How do we formalise this? What did you do next? What happened next?
I think what we did, we sort of made an action plan. I'm quite methodical about stuff like this. I mean, I think because a few of us own our own businesses as well.
Yeah.
So that kind of organisation, that teamwork, meeting deadlines
comes naturally, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. So if a job's got to be done, it gets done. But I mean, we've all got different skills, different strengths and weaknesses. So we kind of utilised that and sort of delegated certain tasks, and it helps that there's 5 of us. It breaks down the job.
Well, this is the interesting thing, isn't it? Like I run a business sort of as well as host the podcast and do that. So I completely get the power of delegation, and our business is a family business as well. So, but what I'm really interested in is who decides what and who's good at what.
I think it's quite a collective. I think, again, because we've known each other all our lives, there's no filter. There's no filter, which is a great thing. So there's no, I'll let someone else.
And I think the good thing is that we all have strengths and weaknesses. So my weakness is organisation and just rubbish organisation and admin, really bad. But then others are really good at planning, organisation, and to-do lists. So we know each other's weaknesses. So we know if I give a task to Sarita, because she's so organised, methodical, she'll get it done. And then my strengths are maybe written work for the website or doing blogs because of my job. So
content. And I suppose that element of just having that open and honest conversation helps, doesn't it?
Oh yes.
Yeah, good stuff. Tell me a story that best represents the work that Five Diamonds does.
Will I take this question? I'll take this. I think to date, we've had over 150 students attend our workshops. And like I said, I think we underestimated the demand out there. And from day one, the feedback has been absolutely amazing. I mean, the kids are genuinely appreciative of the workshops and the support we give them. But I think there's a few students who sort of stand out for me. And they were refugees who had to flee their country because of war. And subsequently, they had to abandon their studies. So when they came to us, when they reached out to us, to ask if they could attend the workshops, and we heard their story, I mean, first of all, we were just amazed about how, after all they'd been through, they were still determined to pursue their dreams. These 2 young gentlemen, they wanted to be dentists. So they attended the workshop, and just their sort of motivation and their passion through after everything they've been through, it was just amazing. And it was such an honour to be able to sort of help them, I think,
So what's really interesting, Sarita, is we interviewed a guy who runs a charity for Ukraine. So he runs a refugee charity for people in Ukraine, and he this was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it, Paul? And he effectively set up a shop in Moldova so that when people came over the Ukrainian border, they were looked after effectively. And I said to him, you just imagine, like, you've got a profession, you're one of us, you're working really hard, you're building a business, you're doing what you need to. And then suddenly, through no fault of your own, it's over. And you've got to pack up and just leave. Yeah. And Sarita, I agree. The bravery of turning around and going, just start again is incredible, isn't it?
it's amazing, especially for that age, for that age group, and that was just something that kind of helped spur us on and think, you know what, we are doing something, right. So yeah, I mean that was great.
Clearly you are. Clearly you are. So I know that a lot of the mentorship you do is through career days. Help me understand a little bit about the format of the career day, how it works, and what a day looks like for your mentor. Is mentorees the right word? Mentees, that's it. I thought I'd add a couple of extra letters. Why not? Mentees. So talk to me about how the day looks.
I'm not sure if there is interference when I'm talking. Or is it okay?
Yeah, absolutely. The audio is good now.
So I'll give an example of a dentistry career day, which is similar format to the medicine, accountancy, and law days. So when the students come in, we'll give a bit of background information of what skills are required in the career, what skills you possess. We'll go over the background of the career, a simple day in the life of a dentist or a doctor, what your day would involve. Again, a bit background, and then we'll go over what subjects you would need to study that career, what subjects you would need to study at school, what grades are required, how to apply to universities, what they're looking for. Then we go quite in depth into that information, which is what the students really want. Like when I get to university, if I get to interview stage, what will I be asked? What are they going to expect of me? So go through all that process. And again, with dentistry, it's very hands-on. It's a practical job as well. So we include a lot of practical elements to it. For example, the students can play around with filling materials, their dental instruments. We have them taking dental impressions. So it's a bit of fun. It's very informal. We make
I'd imagine it's quite interactive as well, isn't it? Yeah, in terms of
fun, and the kids get so much out of it. It will make it really comfortable environment for them. To ask as many questions as you want. And I think for all of us, it's not just us delivering the career day. We involve other professionals as well. I think for all of us, we can offer the experience aspect of it. But especially in dentistry, I have a current dental student on the course as well to give her take on what it's like now getting in dentistry, which is very different to how it was 20 years ago when I applied.
Well, I'd imagine the perspective of somebody who's just starting out their career is going to be different, isn't it? So just adding that perspective adds a bit of value.
Very different. So they get it from, like you said, from another perspective. And on my course of the dentistry, we also have a current dentist who participates, who's also been on the interview panel at Manchester University. So she can give her take to students. For example, what the interviewers are looking for, certain red flags, and the children really appreciate it because there's no other way you can get that sort of information.
Yeah. What other opportunities for kids to get mentorship is out there, and how does that? Are there other ways that kids that are looking to become professionals can get mentorship, or is it a huge gap? Do you think?
I think unless you have family or friends in that career field or that pathway, then you can get some advice or get some opportunity for work experience. Otherwise, I imagine it being difficult. It's very tricky.
Yeah. So the day is 50% theoretical. Here's what you need to do to get the career, and then a bit of practical. Tanveer, how do you make Samita? How do you make accountancy and law practical?
No, I know exactly.
I mean, I'm thinking about the world of financial planning, and I think I might struggle a bit, to be honest.
You know what, Chris? In between my accountancy workshops, I have a quiz, and that gets people going.
Quiz, right? Okay, now I'm curious.
Chocolates and the ones.
Give me a quiz-related question that might engage me as a student.
Oh gosh! But yeah, it's a blend of non-financial and financial. But yeah, we'll make it fun.
And I love it. Absolutely love it. Now, I've done some career mentorship, and I always find the questions that people ask are insightful in themselves, and you get to learn as well as the students, right? So tell me a little bit about what you've learned being a mentor that surprised you the most.
Did you be doing it? Take this or?
Who'd like to answer?
Hi, I'm back again. I think with mentoring that we're doing, you realise how little support the students actually have. There's no other pathway to find out about careers. And I think at schools, resources are limited. I think they all have career advice at schools, but there's a limit to how much information or advice they can give for certain careers. But we are very specific, be it law, medicine, or dentistry. So I think that's what we offer that other schools that schools can't in general.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think the challenge you've got is at the school it's very generic, isn't it? Because they've got to do those drilling down.
So that was part one of the interview with the Five Diamonds about their mentorship program. More on that next week. Have we got, as we normally do, a joke of the week?
No.
What do you mean, no joke of the week? What are you? You've got no joke of the week?
No, you want to rant and I'll look for one?
Are you? What am I doing?
The joke is.
How long look for one now? Us, just out of interest, how long has the format of the show been nonsensical chat, kindness news, interview with something amazing, and then joke of the week?
No, we might have had a format in the first 5 podcasts, and then it all went to pot, didn't it?
What do you mean it all went to pot?
I can't make sense of half these recordings now.
I'm so sorry, Ryan.
Sorry, what ones could you make sense of?
We've had the early ones. We had a clear plan that we'd have this, and this, and that was it.
Sorry, in my head, all right, we've chucked in recently the games that we're playing, like Indian or bagel and stuff like that. I think they're good fun. I mean, they're like random throwaways, but the clear principle for ages has been nonsensical chat, kindness news, interview, and then joke of the week.
Don't be so
hard. I've been good enough, and have you found the joke of the week?
Don't be so hard on her. She's a working girl now. She has to allocate her time properly.
No, I just forgot that joke of the week was part of the format. It's not actually been part of the format.
You did, Charlotte.
No, fully take credit that I forgot.
She's taking ownership. That's the right thing to do. Go on then, joke of the week.
Why should you wear glasses to a math class?
Why should you wear glasses to a maths class? Don't know.
Because it helps with division.
It helps with division. That was actually worth waiting for. We'll give her that one.
We should do this every week. Charlotte put out a joke, and then we get a good joke at the end of it.
It might be worth waiting, mightn't it?
That might be on it. Yeah.
Okay. On that note, have a lovely week. We will see you, my friends, on the Kindness Project soon.
Bye.
Bye.